Chat Cave with Mike and Max.
Welcome back to the Chat Cave here on McGTV, youtube.com/MikeMcGTV. Again, follow me on Twitter at MikeMcGTV. Once again, joined by my Chat Cave host, Mr.
Max. How's it going, everybody?
Andrews. Yeah, you were saying last time, it's like, you know what, I need a nickname. I think that works. Follow Max over on the 3 Geeks YouTube channel, but also on 3geeks.ninja and on Twitter at 3 Geeks Podcast. You guys we just recently did the most regular 3 Geeks Podcast. Any big stuff for Animaniacs or sports nerds or anything coming up?
No, it's been rough for Animaniacs and sports nerds. It's just like a bunch of life getting in the way, so I actually don't think there's anything in the pipe set in stone just yet for any of those podcasts. We just got the main cast going right now.
I feel kind of bad because I feel like this could have been a good Animaniacs thing and I just poached it from you guys.
Yeah, I mean, and we might still talk about it, but I feel like we should definitely talk about Justice League Dark on Animaniacs before we talk about Lego Batman anyway. Mm-hmm. So it's okay. You're not hurting the Animaniacs. We still got plenty of stuff to cover.
All right, go. Because the last thing I want to do is being like, I'm hurting the brand somehow.
No way, dude. No way.
Here we are on the McGTV Batman podcast, talking all things Bat. And, of course, most recently, there has been a movie that came out having to deal with Batman. That is the Lego Batman movie, being not just a Batman film, but also a sequel, spin-off to 2014's Lego movie. But before we get into kind of our thoughts on the film, because Max and I have both seen it, correct?
Yes.
Yes. It would kind of defeat the purpose of us going in here. It's like, yeah, let's talk about it with no context. Sure. But I want to kind of get a sense of where you're at with regards to not just Lego, but Lego Batman as well. What'd you think of 2014's Lego movie?
I really enjoyed the Lego movie. I didn't watch it in the theaters because I was like, oh, this is gonna be dumb, and I didn't buy the hype. But then I ended up watching it on Netflix or DVD or whatever, and I really enjoyed it. I was sad that I missed it in the theaters. I thought they did a really good job, and it's funny, and yeah, it's good stuff.
It was one of my top 10 movies of 2014, I remember, and it really, I felt, for something that didn't have to be as good as it was, really was very well constructed. It could have been just the easiest cash grab off of a toy name, and they made it actually really kind of heartfelt and really existential almost to a point.
Lego so far is the only toy movie that's actually good. They made Battleship, and I don't know what else. They're making Tetris the movie. It's probably gonna be terrible.
There's that Emoji movie.
Oh yeah, Emoji the movie. That's yeah. What goodness sake. But yeah, no, the Lego movie is really, really good, and yeah, way better than it even needed to be.
The great thing I've always found about Lego too, especially now these days where it is branching out into multiple franchises, the amount of creativity that kind of goes into what they do to adapt a franchise to their brand in a way, and Lego Batman is a perfect example of this. For example, did you ever get into any of the actual Lego Batman products? I know there have been movies or whatever, but I think they're meant for very, very young kids, but also the video games and stuff like that.
No, I played a little bit of Lego Star Wars.
Okay.
And I played Lego Marvel Heroes, which I think is one of the more recent ones. But yeah, I never played any of the Lego Batman, and I never actually played that far into the game. But they're fun and everything, but they really are for kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never really got into Lego Batman at all.
So this movie, you kind of had a bit of a challenge to not only hook in its kid demographic, who would be maybe more familiar with that type of stuff than we would, but also to hook in Batman fans overall. And before we get into our thoughts on, here's kind of the summation of the story. I feel it is kind of sort of a spin-off of the Lego movie. I have a feeling this is taking place in superhero world or whatever, you know, in the Lego movie, it's established that there are different realms, like the medieval realms and the wacky realm and, you know, the big urban city realm. And then this can just be like superhero realm, essentially. It takes place in a Lego Gotham City and stars Will Arnett's Batman. He's back. He's no longer a supporting character. He's in the main role. And all the villains that come with the Batman mythos and franchise, from the Joker to Crazy Quilt. It is kind of this adventure. It's sort of this almost unrequited hate-love between Batman and Joker. Joker really wants to prove to Batman that he is his ultimate nemesis, and Batman's really dismissive of him. And so Joker gets into this very elaborate plot to get put in the Phantom Zone so that he can release not just the worst DC villains, but also the worst, like, Lego villains ever. So there's, like, Sauron and Voldemort and things like that.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Batman's having family issues in that he is scared of being part of a family unit again. So he's very off-put by Alfred, played by Ralph Fiennes, and Robin, played by Michael Cera, and doesn't want to work with the new police commissioner, who is Barbara Gordon, played by Rosario Dawson, who we love from Daredevil and other fare.
She's just killing it on the nerd front. She's in everything. I love it.
I mean, she's got all the bases covered. Like, she's been in Daredevil, she's been in Sin City, she played Wonder Woman in those New 52 films, and now she's straight up...
She was in Clerks 2.
Clerks 2, yeah, and now she's straight up Batgirl. Or Barbara Gordon, I guess. Spoilers for something you've seen on the poster. She becomes Batgirl. But anyways, Batman's trying to... wants to stay this lone vigilante and everything like that. And it gets into like this... honestly gets into like this very deep, depressing moral towards the end a little bit. But yeah, it's still fun. It's still very spectacular visually. I'm always amazed at what they can pull off in terms of style and animation with these Lego figures. It's always kind of really cool what creatively they can do.
Yeah, and the action is all really interesting. You know, it's not like you think that Lego dudes fighting each other would not really be visually interesting, and they really do keep it going. And yeah, even I'd say, you know, much like the Lego movie from 2014, this one was just better than it should have been. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the aspects of it. It's just like you get this really seamless action from these block characters, and you don't expect that.
Well, Max, I spoke on about the plot a little bit enough. What kind of praises or what kind of criticisms can you level at this movie, aside from what you just mentioned about like the action and spectacle of it?
Yeah, I really liked it. I think Will Arnett as Batman is great. I think he gets a little too kind of quippy. Like they try to fire off too many jokes in the movie. Yeah. But other than that, like, I don't really have any problems. Like, I really like all the supporting cast a lot. I love Michael Cera as Dick Grayson Robin, and Ralph Fiennes as Alfred. I thought he kind of stole the show. Yeah. I really like pretty much 100% of the parts with Alfred in it.
Again, Alfred is the shittiest butler because he just lets that kid into the Batcave.
Yeah, he's totally shitty. But I mean, he's the best. and yeah, Rosario Dawson, as always, is great. Yeah, she doesn't disappoint. But yeah, I really think the supporting cast is what kind of hooked me on this movie. Batman, again, Will Arnett does a great job. Batman's great, but I think it's like everyone else who kind of, because Zach Galifianakis as the Joker, I thought did a really good job too. So I mean, yeah, I really liked. I think everyone else. And it was just a really funny, good movie. I'm actually kind of glad they went with, I guess, what you would call the more celebrity type voice roles for this in particular, because it would be kind of distracting to place like someone like a Joe DiMaggio or a Mark Hamill or a Kevin Conroy in kind of this very wacky world and try to have them add whatever vocal quality they have with these characters in the past to like play it straight. I don't know, it might have worked, but at the same time, I really enjoy Will Arnett's portrayal of Batman. Just because I like that Will Arnett rolls with it. He'll just do bad voice whenever. and say pretty much anything. I love that too. And Will Arnett's just embraced the whole thing.
I do agree with you in that sometimes the quips or sometimes the meta humor is a little forced at times in the film. Honestly, the parts I found the funniest were when they were just being in character and laughing at that, because the film opens up with him saying like a black screen. That's how most very epic superhero movies start. Then comes the logo. There's a logo. And honestly, that really wasn't working for me because I'm like, okay, I get it. You're trying to be like Deadpool, except for kids.
Yeah.
But then when stuff happens in the movie that's just purely character driven, or when they do make a reference to the Batman mythology, like when one of the airplane pilots is chewing out the Joker for his plan never working, he's like, is this going to be like that time you had a parade downtown with Prince music? And I laughed at that. Or
yeah, that was good. They had quite a few callbacks, to the like other anything really. And I liked it too. I thought it was really good. The beginning, I agree, was just a bit much. And it was weird how it set the bar weird for me because I thought, oh, here we go. Like none of this is really making me laugh, and it's only 45 seconds into the movie. But no, it turned it right around.
And it was kind of the humor at random characters' expense too, especially like if you have a in-depth knowledge of Batman characters. Like, I don't know why, the two moments that really stuck out for me that I just remember laughing uproariously at, and they were really quick, was that opening sequence with all the Bat villains fighting Batman and the bomb and stuff.
Yes.
Everyone's had their moment so far, and then Killer Croc, the Killer Croc Lego toy, just walks up to the bomb and presses the button, and he's like, "Yay, I helped!" And that was it. Like, I don't know why, but I'm like, yep, that's totally Killer Croc for some reason. Or Orca, that Orca character, and which is an actual character from the comics. And when she debuted in the comics, it was just as stupid. But Barbara Gordon's like, Orca, what can you do? I'm a whale. And that's all it was. Like, they did a Free Willy thing almost with Barbara and Orca. Like, Orca just jumps over her. Just stupid crap like that. But because of the fact that, like, yeah, Orca is a stupid character, and these storytellers know that, and they utilize that to their strength. I love that this really didn't shy away from the embarrassing parts of the Batman history as well.
No, they really put everything in there. Like they didn't care. Like all the ridiculousness of Batman, they were just like, let's run with it.
Was there anything besides the kind of the pandering lines or meta humor that really wasn't working for you aside from that?
No, I mean, because like my expectations weren't very high on this one. So I was able to go into it just like, all right, well, whatever they throw at me, I'm just going to take it at face value. So, yeah, I wasn't disappointed by much. Maybe if I watched it again and I could kind of sit down and kind of, now that I know what I'm getting into, I could pick apart some things. But overall, no, not really. Like I just thought, yeah, they got a little too quippy.
It was those points where it didn't seem like Batman and the Joker talking to each other anymore. It was just Will Arnett and Zach Galifianakis riffing.
Yeah.
And I will say that's why I still think the Lego movie is better than this movie still, because at least when random humor would happen in that movie, the characters that were the focus were at least original characters, so you could say like, okay, well, that's part of their character then. It's not like all of a sudden Lego Harry Potter's there talking jive or whatever, I don't know, talking street for no reason. But like, there's points in this movie where it's like, Joker out, or that. I will say that one thing in the prison with Batman and Robin beatboxing, I kind of tuned out. I was like, I don't care. Let's get back to fighting the villains. I don't care about this.
Yeah, it's mostly for the kids.
Yeah, I know why it's there. It's for the kids, but
fuck the kids.
Like I said, I hate kids in my kids' movies, so whatever. I will say the one thing I kind of was apprehensive about going into this movie was I was nervous about would I be able to tolerate a whole hour and a half of Will Arnett Batman as the focus, because he worked great in the Lego movie as a side character, and when he does get too quippy, I do kind of start to tune out a little bit. But that my main thing was like, am I going to be irritated by this character who, when he was in a supporting role, I was perfectly fine with? Because that's kind of a risky run with a lot of different types of movie spin-offs or sequels, is that you give a really funny side character in the original all of the screen time, and then it becomes annoying.
Right.
So that's what I was kind of worried about with him, but it didn't really feel that way.
No, he definitely carries the movie. They could have, I don't know if they could have cut a little bit out, or just maybe rework some of the dialogue to, just to knock this one over the top. But yeah, I don't think they did a bad job at all. And yeah, Will Arnett as Batman does a great job carrying the movie. But I think it also, like you're saying, that's what makes the side characters more interesting to me, because like actually, Batman's a good, even this kind of joking Batman is a good just sounding board or whatever to bounce other stuff off of. And yeah, so I liked it. Yeah, I thought that he did a good job, and he can carry the film. I'd like to see a sequel.
I'd like to see a sequel too, possibly. There was one thing with regards to just the story itself that I was kind of like, well, I know why it's a Lego Batman movie, because it does tie into that world. It does tie into the brand. I could have seen this as, bear with me here, I could have seen this as a Bat-Mite movie, almost. Like, the connections to Lego, aside from Joker breaking all the other movie villains loose from the Phantom Zone, other than those connections, I was thinking to myself, like, honestly, a couple of rewrites, this could have been a pretty decent Bat-Mite movie, because all the heroes and villains get along okay. They're just kind of play-acting cops and robbers, really. And, they're kind of squabbling kind of like kids would. I don't know. It just kind of, I was like, aside from the fact that Lego Batman was in the first Lego movie, there's not really much to make this quintessential Lego Batman, aside from they build some stuff every once in a while. But that really doesn't even factor into the story like it did in Lego Movie, where the master builders were all this big thing, and here Batman's like the only master builder, really.
Well, I mean, Robin master builds in this one, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, yeah, he did have like a moment where, or he was helping him out. He was helping construct.
Right.
But I mean, it didn't take away at all from the movie. I was just thinking that, like, you know what? There's only a couple things really that tie this to the Legoverse, I guess they're building, because there was a preview for that Ninja one that
Ninjago.
Yeah, that's coming. So I guess it's going to be this whole shared universe of Lego films.
That one I'm probably not going to watch.
Yeah, I really don't know much about it, but it didn't really make me laugh in the preview. But the other thing I was kind of thinking is that the moral of the story, Batman's family issues, while effective and while it did work, I was kind of hoping for something a little different, because I knew going into the movie that was going to be the big source of conflict for him. I knew that was going to be the big thing, is like, I work alone. I don't want family with me or anything like that. I was kind of hoping for something a little different, maybe.
Yeah, it is kind of tried and true. But what I did like was that they didn't depower Batman to what's the word I'm looking for? Necessitate the other people being there.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, they're just like, okay, even a badass would have trouble with this. But yeah, I mean, it's a safe line to take. You can't really fault.
I guess that was the thing, is that, when we've had other kids' films come out, like Zootopia or, again, the original Lego movie, that they did kind of take a chance with their moral of the story in a way. Like, they wanted it to be a little bit more mature for the kids, see if the kids could handle it. I was kind of like, I guess the tried and true, family is your true superpower. That can work, but I don't know. One thing I thought of when I left the movie was that to also tie it in more with the Legoverse, because in the Lego movie it was established like, yeah, this is all in some kid's imagination, is that what if it would have been like almost Buzz Lightyear-ish, where Batman finds out he's not really Batman, and that he's just a toy inspired by an actual comic book or another fictional character. That happened in Toy Story, and I've never actually seen that happen since Toy Story. and it was well done there. And I felt like that could have been something kids could probably handle. Is like, again, a little bit of the existential crisis of Batman. He's like, what's the point of fighting? What's the point of fighting criminals if if all this is make believe? If all this is just toys being shuffled around? Yeah.
No, that's good. I didn't even think about that. That would be a good little storyline to explore the Buzz Lightyear syndrome.
Yeah, especially with the ego this Batman has on him, because he's like, essentially he's saying, I'm awesome at everything. That opening song where he's telling you about his 9th ab or whatever that is. Yeah, he's got such a inflated sense of self-worth in this movie that, is partially part of the Batman hype that we've established for the character recently in pop culture. Like, Batman is just all around awesome. And so this Batman actually believes it. Like, how cool it would have been to see, like, his ego just get totally bruised when he finds out, oh, I'm just a little plastic plaything.
Yeah, because I don't know, with the Lego movie, because, like, they kind of knew that they were Legos already,
Yeah, I guess.
Like, I don't know if they could have this crisis, but either way, I think it'd make for a good story. They could definitely run the sequel that way.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was saying. Yeah, maybe a sequel for this would be good. It can delve into that, because even in the first Lego movie, I was kind of curious. Like, are they fully aware of what they are, or are they just oblivious? Because they call like the kid a god or whatever, or the big man, or I forget what it was, but they definitely have a sort of reverence for higher beings of some kind. I know, it's a lot to think about for a stupid kids film, but
whatever, man. Let's get these kids messed up. We get them thinking deep early.
Well, I think that's the deal. It's like they presented this kind of identity crisis to kids in Toy Story originally and its sequels, so I feel kids these days could probably handle that.
Identity crisis is something else entirely.
Oh, when you're talking DC identity crisis, I don't know. You see Lego Dr. Light show up in this, and you just go, ew.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, man.
That would be a bit dark.
But, I mean, it was very well executed. It is a very entertaining film. All the little sight gags in it, all the little sound gags in it. Yeah, it's fun to hear Billy D. Williams for like 2 seconds. Honestly, it really didn't need to be him, because they don't really utilize him so much.
Yeah, they really don't.
I think the guy who's putting on the fake Tom Hardy impression for Bane got more lines than he did.
Yeah, but it was funny.
Like, I just love that. Like, that's the thing I love about these Lego movies, especially, is kind of the randomness, but it still works. Like, you have the Tom Hardy impression for Bane. Clayface sounds like a 6-year-old. If you pay close attention, yes. You hear him be like, "Let's go, guys," or whatever. I love the voice they gave Sauron. But yeah, overall, would you recommend the Lego movie or Lego Batman movie?
Absolutely. I definitely recommend it. I was lucky when I went to go see it. There weren't 10,000 kids in the theater, so there was also that. But yeah, definitely take your kids or go by yourself. If you're just a big kid like me, and it's good. It's definitely worth watching.
Yeah, I'd recommend it too. It's definitely, I'd say it's worth watching in the theaters. Visually, it's spectacular. The action is really great, and the comedy, for the most part, really works when they're in character. When it starts to get into that Deadpool breaking the fourth wall, letting you know that they're in on the joke a little too much, you can kind of get a little bored with that, but for the most part, it stays really well on track. And all the little in references, if you're a Bat fan, you're going to be happy with, I feel. But I still prefer Lego Movie over this one. But this is still very good.
I think it's a little better, but this is still solid.
Yeah, still very solid.
They could just do more in the Lego Movie because there's no limitations at all. Whereas this one, they're stuck with the Bat family and the Gotham, Gotham setting there.
So I guess that's a glowing recommendation from both Max and myself. Check out the Lego Batman. Did you see it in 3D or regular?
Just regular.
Okay. It is in 3D, right?
Probably. I don't see why it wouldn't be.
Yeah. But I'd give it 8 green penguins out of 10. That was another visual that just came to mind Poison Ivy's trying to kiss Batman, so he's grappling all of Penguin's up to him, making them kiss her instead.
Yes, that was good stuff. Yeah, I'd only give it 7 green penguins, but that's still pretty solid.
Yeah. Well, considering I gave the Lego Movie a perfect 10 out of 10 when I first saw it, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, it's still good. Not as good as that. That's a pretty quick chat cave for us for today. Just a quick movie review about a fun little kids film that adult Bat fans might enjoy here and there. No Ra's al Ghul, though. I didn't see Ra's in there.
Yeah. And again, he might be just a bit dark for the Lego Batman movie, but you know, like, they did have Bane in there, so I don't know. Yeah, just they probably had enough going already, you know.
Yeah, like, he might be in the background somewhere.
When you put Crazy Quilt in there, you know, there's not a lot of room for Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, I'm surprised they got as many like kind of celebrity cameos for one line for their characters. Like Conan O'Brien was the Riddler apparently, and he has one line where he's like, "Riddle me this. What the heck happened to us?" or whatever.
You can probably get all those, you know, all the extra stuff from Ra's al Ghul in the extended DVD version that they're going to put out in 6 months.
And that's going to be a hard R.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Lego Batman.
Super gritty Lego Batman.
Yeah. Depressing as hell Lego Batman Ultimate Edition. With extra scenes directed by Ben Affleck. That should be the movie that Ben Affleck goes for. Don't worry so much about the Batman, Ben. Focus on Lego Batman 2. I think he'd do a great job with Lego Batman 2.
Yeah, I'd watch that movie for sure.
You just have to focus on directing because he already has another Batman cast. You wouldn't have to even worry about acting.
Yeah, it's fine.
So that's been To the Chat Cave here on McGTV, youtube.com/Mike McGTV. Again, follow us here or on Twitter at Mike McGTV, or follow 3 Geeks at youtube.com/3 Geeks Network, or on Twitter, 3 Geeks Podcast. Till next time, same chat time, same chat channel. Take care, old chum.
You too, old chum.